It's about time you have an easier, more efficient way to get caught up on the news. The Newsworthy breaks down the day's top stories in less than 15 minutes and gives you some lighter conversation starters along the way. Search The Newsworthy wherever you're listening now and follow or subscribe to The Newsworthy today.
That's the sound of a big deal. At Wayfair, that sound happens a lot. Dream sofa for half the price? Big deal. New dining table you've been eyeing for months? Big deal. Finally picking up those last few pieces and finishing that bedroom? Now that's a really big deal. Whatever your home needs, Wayfair has the selection, the savings, and over millions of 5-star reviews to back it up. Shop wayfair.com today before someone else snags your big deal.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Thank you so much for joining us on Still a Part of Us. This interview between Winter and Bethany about little sweet Milo was over 3 hours long, and this is part 2 of that interview. If you have not listened to part 1, go back and listen to that before continuing on. Thank you so much.
And it kind of made me feel like silly, like almost like I'm just making it up, because she was just like, I'm just not picking up any of these contractions. So it really is painful. And so, like, I'm like, I am fully having contractions. Again, at this, and I told her very quickly, I was like, he's not alive, as I'm sure you know. So I really don't want to feel all the pain of this. I want to have an epidural. I want to be as comfortable as possible with this process, because I don't get to meet my baby alive on the other side. So just help me, please. She's like, okay, we'll get it epidural going here soon. But I don't think you're probably ready for that yet. She was like, sometimes it's nice to like let your body, progress a little bit before you get there, because sometimes it can halt things. So she's like, let's let your body go a little bit longer, because again, this is your first vaginal birth. So I'm like, okay, like just trying to trust her. I'm like in a lot of pain, and she's like, I'm so sorry, we're gonna move rooms. I'm like, okay, so we move rooms. This room has, the leaf picture with a little raindrop on it, because it's the dead baby room.
Yeah.
And it's at like the very end of the hall. It's like, far away from all the crying babies, away from all the mothers having a way better outcome. On the same floor, on the exact same floor, but just your own little area, because I don't think it's just for you as the lost mom. I think it's for them too. I think it's like for both. And I that's really tough as well. Like, I don't think it's just in protection of the lost mom. I think it's also in protection of the other moms. And it's just very painful. So she moves us to that room, and Simon orders food. He's like, I'm hungry. I'm going to have to eat. I'm like, yeah, you should get food. By the time he goes out and picks up the DoorDash that came and then comes back, I'm like, Simon, I am in a lot of pain. I was like, I think we got to get going with this epidural. She's like, okay. And so she's like, I'm going to get the anesthesiologist called. I feel like I was waiting forever. I don't know how long. I just feel like they were dragging their feet. Again, she's still not checked my cervix at this point. So Simon's like, do you want some food? He's like, he had gotten like a smoothie and then some stuff from Noodles and Company, like the mac and cheese that I like. And I was like, I don't think I can eat right now. And she's like, you probably shouldn't, in case this is a C-section. And I was like, okay. And then finally, the anesthesiologist comes in, and I just remember him talking about, because I had gotten one with Lincoln, but he was like, you have to be really still for this. And I'm like, I am in so much pain. My contractions were so close together at that point. But again, she's still saying that she can't see my contractions. So I just felt like I don't know. I just felt like I wasn't being taken seriously, honestly. No. I literally, in my head, I was like, am I a big baby? Like, am I just like, I just can't handle, cause that's how I felt like I was being treated. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like trying so hard to sit still, cause I'm like, this is a big deal. I know you need to sit still, but I am in so much pain. So he finishes giving me the epidural and he's like, okay, you should get some relief in like, 15 or so minutes. She's like, I was like, I am in so much pain. She's like, okay, I'll just check your cervix. Let's just see where you're at. I'm at a full 10. Full 10. And this is immediately after getting the epidural. Immediately. So I'm at a full 10 receiving the epidural. And I don't know how much you know about epidurals, but typically if you're anywhere from an 8, 9, or 10 dilation, they don't give you an epidural. So again, that's on her because she never checked me. So okay, I'm like, okay, that makes sense because I'm in so much pain. She's like, you're at a full 10. I'm like, Simon, call Christina. That's our photographer friend. He calls her. She's like, I'm on my way right now, crying out in so much pain. And I was like, I need help. And I asked the nurse, I was like, can the anesthesiologist come back? It's not working. The epidural's not working. Because now it's been probably 15, 20 minutes since he gave it to me. And it's just, we know I'm at a full 10, but I didn't even get any relief, like nothing. I'm like, can he come back? She's like, okay. So he comes back and he's like, Bethany, there's not a lot I can do I can try and give you more. But if you're at a full 10, like we saw, a lot of times the epidural won't even work. And I was like, what? So he tried to like turn it up or give me more or whatever, but did not work. So she was like, I can give you fentanyl. They gave me fentanyl through my IV. And it was such a weird thing because I felt it up here. Like I felt like it kind of made my eyes like weird. I felt like a little high almost, but it did not touch the pain. It's like it just did not go down there. It's like it just kind of made me like, so because she at one point was like, it looks like it's helping a little bit. And I was like, no, I feel like it's in my head. It's not helping. I was in so much pain. So then Christina gets there. She's like, can I pray with you? And so she just like prays with me and Simon. She's got her little camera. I was so afraid. I think as soon as she said you're at a full 10, I'm like, I was so afraid. I was so afraid to push him out. I was afraid of the pain, but I was mainly so afraid. As much as I wanted to meet my baby, I didn't know what he was going to look like. I didn't know. I was afraid of the pain of not hearing his cry and not feeling him move. I was so afraid. And right after she prayed, the nurse was like, I can see his head. Like, you should start pushing. And so I pushed him out in like less than 2 minutes. Maybe 2 pushes. Like my body just, I mean, like I was in labor I had him at 10:52. I wasn't in like real labor until like 6:30.
Right.
Like we're talking like a little over 4 hours and 2 pushes under 2 minutes. He's out. But right before I pushed him out, I'll just never forget Simon. It's like God gave him just something in that moment. And he was just like, you get to meet Milo. You're going to meet Milo. And just for a moment, for one moment in time, it felt normal. And it felt, I get to meet my baby. And I knew he wasn't alive and it didn't take away the pain, but it's like it gave me the strength I need to just push him out because he didn't have fear on his face. Like he just was like, you get to meet Milo. You get to meet the baby. You get to meet your baby. You've been growing. You get to meet Milo. And I was like, I want to meet Milo. So I pushed him out so quick. And Simon was watching. Christina was also watching. She got some pictures of it, actually. And I'll just never forget the look on their faces, though, because it's like, typically it's like this excitement thing. it wasn't, you can't say that it was horror, but it was just like both Christina and Simon, you know, as he was coming out, just, I can't see. Right. And so I'm like, does he look awful? Like what's, you know, like they just, by the look on their face, but it's like, you know, you've never seen a baby come out not alive before. So I think it's just kind of shocking. But to the mother on this side that's pushing him out, seeing those faces, it's tough. Like, it's just like, what's happening? It wasn't my doctor, by the way, you know, because he wasn't in, because this is at 10 at night, which they promised me I wasn't going to have him.
Yes.
My body did it.
Yep.
Everything that they were pushing against, everything that they were like, you can't do this. Your body's not going to do this. You need to have a C-section. My body was like, F you.
Yeah. We're doing this.
Yes. Wanted to honor Milo. I believe that. Wanted it to be a moment, because I believe that there was more peace in that room pushing him out that way than there would have been if he would have been cut open. I have pictures of him coming out of me that I wouldn't have if he would have been a C-section. Yeah. I'm grateful for that. It's such a small piece. I hate this reality. I don't want any of it, but if I'm grateful for one thing that happened after, it's at least that I got to push him out that way, for me and our story. And they laid him on my chest so quick. And he was so beautiful. He was so beautiful. It's like death could not touch that baby's beauty. Death could not touch his beauty. It's like and even like his little spirit. I always said throughout my pregnancy that he was like a little peacemaker. I just felt like he was a peaceful soul. He was just, and Christina, without knowing that, said that, and that she's like, I just feel his peace. Like he's just, it's like you can somehow, even though he wasn't alive, it's like you could feel what it was somehow. And it doesn't make a ton of sense, yet it does, because there's so much we don't know about heaven and the thin veil and all of this. And I'm still trying to, you know, I just felt his, somehow, a tiny piece of his presence. And it was so peaceful. He honestly, he was like slightly purple. His lips were a little purple. When I pushed him out, it did kind of pull off some of the skin from one of his eyes and then on his neck. So it was like they looked like open wounds there at first, you know? But he was so beautiful. He had this like tiny little turned up nose, and me and Lincoln have these lips that are like these like mountain hump lips. He had our same exact lips. And my nose, which is also Lincoln's like a miniature me. And so I was just like marveling at him, and both Christina and Simon right away were like, he looks like you. He looks like you. He was like, he looks like you and Lincoln, which was also just sweet, because like to just be able to tell Lincoln like he looked a lot like you, and he did, like but his like beautiful, like identical lips to me and Lincoln, and then this cute little nose, and then he had a full head of hair. Lincoln came out bald, which Simon came out bald. I came out with a head full of hair. Like I had the most amount of hair, and Milo had so much hair, and he was only 34 weeks old.
Yeah.
And it was like thick, beautiful. It was like lighter hair. It like seemed like it was like almost like dark blonde or light brown. And so usually they're born with darker hair and then it goes lighter. So I think he was going to be pretty blonde, which Simon was blonde as a kid. But his like little body, he was so cute. His like little tiny, like little bean toes. Oh my gosh. He was so cute. I did not expect like to be able to see how cute he was. He was so beautiful. Oh my gosh. I never wanted that moment to end. It was so painful, obviously, because he's not crying and he's not moving. but he just was still so beautiful. And that was another moment that felt normal for a second of
Yeah.
like, just the way we marveled at him. It's like, it's so echoed how it would be if he were alive and how it looks for other families having an alive baby. And it's like it didn't erase the pain because there's so much pain of him not being alive, but like you just love your baby.
Yeah.
You just love them in life, in death, no matter what they look like, that you just love them so much. And we just loved him. We love him.
Yes.
And if there was any amount of peace and joy in this whole process, it was just getting to meet him, even though it was so not how it should have been. And I can see so clearly how it should have been, almost like it's reality. I don't know if that like rings true for you too, but like with the way it's gone, it's like at any given point of my life, I feel like I can picture what it would look like with him here right now.
Yeah.
And it's something I only get to live in my head and my heart. And even in that moment, I can picture what it would have been if he were alive. And so that was taken and that was stolen, which is so painful. But there was still beauty in just getting to meet my son, my boy, my Milo. There was so much beauty in that couldn't be taken by death.
Yeah.
Death could not steal his beauty, our bond, my love for him.
Yeah.
It couldn't touch it.
Yeah.
So Christina got pictures. I honestly wish I wouldn't have had them wrap him as soon as they did, just because I wish I could have just looked at his little naked body longer.
Yeah.
I feel like I got to look at it a little bit. Also, it's really tough because when they're not alive, they're just so much more fragile, like
Yes.
they don't move with you. They're not moving on their own. And so it just felt like he was like kind of flapping in ways, that was hard. Like the way they feel in your hands is so similar yet so different to an alive baby, because the weight of him was all there and his limbs and everything was all there. It's just without them being alive and moving themselves, it's like it just changes so quick.
It does.
And that's so painful because it's like you're trying to just like, you're like, okay, I don't have much time on earth to just get to just adore this baby. You at least just want them to be fully intact and and so that was hard to just feel like even if I was passing him to Simon, I felt nervous or like I wanted to move him to see another part of his body, but I felt nervous. I felt like I didn't want to somehow hurt his body even though he wasn't alive. It's like it was so So then they were like, do you want us to wash him off a little bit? And again, it's just like from the moment he died, just faced with so many impossible decisions that you don't know and you're not prepared for. Like we're already trying to think about, are we going to cremate or bury?
Yeah.
And you never have to think about that. You never would dream of thinking about that. But, and then, am I going to have Lincoln meet him? Is it going to be a vaginal or C-section birth? Is it like, it's just one thing after another of, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I think in my head, I'm like, if all I have is this tiny moment on earth with his body, I would like to see him cleaned up so that I can maybe fully see him. But I think in hindsight now, looking back, I feel like it did speed up the process though. And I know they were delicate. But cleaning him off with how delicate he was, I had carried him for 3.5 days, not alive. So like, honestly, the way he looked was also kind of a miracle in itself. And then, but then they were like, we can, wash him off really gently and then wrap him in your swaddle and put him in a little hat and we can get his prints for you and stuff. I couldn't get up yet, cause they were still like, I did tear a little bit. So he was, the doctor was sewing me up. felt it fully, like no epidural help, just no. I just wanted to be with him, but it was kind of sweet too to watch Simon go over there, as like usually the dads do anyways, of like that typical dad moment. Christina got that moment on in a picture. Yeah, so then they did end up getting some good prints. I know that not everyone gets that. I'm really grateful for that, especially his left foot. It's like the most beautiful, perfect print. It's perfect. But I also wish I wouldn't have had them put him in a hat, because he just had this beautiful full head of hair. I did end up taking it off.
Okay.
He wasn't in it very long, but like also I think even just wearing the hat, I feel like it like made his head be a little bit more delicate too, because like the warmth isn't good, you know. So I didn't know any of those things.
No,
you know, you don't know, and they're not informing you like along the way. Like one of the ladies in there said that they don't see it very often, but you know, whenever she's there, she's kind of in charge of like the memory making of like the prints and stuff. But it's like she'd never said anything of like, you know, I would maybe not do this. They did bring in a cuddle cot.
Okay.
I don't believe the cuddle cot worked ever. Every time I felt it, it didn't even feel cold.
Oh.
And I brought it up to them multiple times, and they're like, it's fine, it's on, it's saying it's -6 or whatever. And it wasn't working. It was not working. They also like that nurse again was very sweet, but she so quickly was like, she was like, I've never had like, you know, helped deliver a stillborn baby this old and this big. He was 4 pounds, 1.4 ounces.
Oh, he was a good size.
Yeah. He was 18 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was 18 inches, so he was pretty long too. And then 4 pounds, 1.4 ounces. He felt like a good size. He looked like a good size.
Yeah.
He just seemed perfect. He just was perfect. They did mention right away after having him, after I delivered the placenta, the doctor and the nurses were like, this is a tiny placenta. Christina got a picture of it. Super tiny. And they asked me if I wanted it sent off to be tested, which I'm kind of thankful that it wasn't my doctor, because again, he's not in the situation. So he was like, do you want your placenta tested? And I was like, yes, I do.
Yep.
And I don't know if my doctor would have said that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was like, yes. So they gave him back to me in the little teddy bear swaddle. My idea was I had a second swaddle so that when we did part, that I would switch him to that swaddle and I could have the swaddle that he was swaddled in to just keep forever. So the whole time we're cuddling the other swaddle, like we'd be holding him in his swaddle, but we had like the swaddle all over our bodies. It's kind of like with Lincoln, they had me like put his little, like little loveys in my bra, and then he would lay on it so that he could smell my milk. And it just, even though he wasn't alive, it just felt like
that was what you would do.
We just wanted, that's what we would do. And we just wanted to do that. We just wanted to like somehow, I also just kept praying and believing that somehow could Milo feel the love? Could Milo be witnessing this? Could Milo be feeling it? Like, God, could you let him feel my touches, feel my kisses for how it should have been? Could he somehow be here, somehow feel in his body what it feels like for me to be his mom in that way? And I really hope that happened, because that's just what I was really hoping, was just that. Could he somehow, even if he's in this place where he's not in pain and he's not crying or whatever, it's like, I'm still his mama and we're still so bonded. And I just want him to know how much I love him. I want him to know what it would have felt like to have me love on him and kiss him and sing to him and hold him and do skin to skin. He deserved to know what that was like. He didn't deserve to lose his life in this way, especially in my case of just, there was no excuse for it. one NST would have shown us that he was in distress and he could have come out. There's no, like, Milo should be here.
Yeah.
He also experienced a slow death, really, because from the week 28 to 31, he dropped. And then he went on to live almost 3 weeks longer from that. So we're talking 6 weeks that this baby is just slowly starving.
Yeah.
Which also is just something that just keeps me up at night. You know, it's just to know that he just basically died of starvation is just
horrible.
It's just brutal. So, and also from all my research now, it happened earlier because he was a bigger baby, and my placenta with Milo was even smaller. So my placenta, after the testing came back, was in less than the first percentile. This placenta.
Oh my
goodness. Less than the first percentile. So it wasn't even on the chart. This placenta wasn't even on the chart. And if he was a bigger baby, which he was, 75th percentile, with an even tinier placenta, then so it makes sense, because originally I'm like, okay, I know that he died of what Lincoln almost died of, but how? It doesn't, the time frames. But then if you think about it, Lincoln was so tiny, and it kind of helped save his life because he was so tiny. He demanded less from his placenta. So his placenta lasted him longer. And also his placenta was a little bit bigger than Milo's. Milo was a bigger baby. He demanded more. And even a smaller placenta, and he was demanding more from his placenta than Lincoln ever was, which is why it happened 5 weeks earlier. So, I just remember singing to him. We sang to him a lot of the songs we sing to Lincoln, like The Lion King, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And Songbird, and we have a couple videos of singing to him because it's just part of who we are as parents that we wanted to do. I did skin to skin with him. I ended up taking his hat off. So I'm like, his hair is just so luscious and beautiful. And I just, but I wish, because then he just remained swaddled. He had one little hand out of his swaddle the whole time, this perfect little hand. But I wish I would have. But again, you just don't know. And in the moment, you're just surviving the moment, and you're just doing what feels right, which none of it feels right in the moment. But then it's like, I feel like every lost mom looks back and is like, I wish, I got pictures, I got videos. I wish I had even more though.
Yes. Yep.
I wish I had even longer. I think what was confusing about my hospital is I've heard some places kind of give you like, okay, you have this amount of time or whatever. Mine was basically like, you can be with him as long as you want, which was kind of confusing. I think in my case that I'm like, how do you tell a mom that she's supposed to decide? How am I supposed to know when to say goodbye to his body? How am I supposed to ever be like, oh, it's time? Like, I was so afraid of that. Like, how am I supposed to know? I'm just going to want to sit there with him no matter how much he's melting. I just want to be there with him. So Christina got a lot of moments. There was a lot of just deep crying, but just also just trying to be present with him too. And almost trying to not let myself spiral too much, that it's like I wanted to be there with him. Like if I let myself lean in fully to the pain that I do and I have and I still do, I would have missed some of it. And so it was like this confusing thing of like, I was feeling the pain, I wasn't shutting it off, but I was not letting myself fully spiral, because I'm like, I want to be here with my son's body for the only time that I have. And I don't remember what time it was that we were kind of like wrapping up. Simon was getting tired. He was like, I want to sleep, which Simon was able to sleep from the moment we found out, which honestly, that's good. Like I hadn't still slept at that point. And I knew not only did I know that I couldn't, I knew that I didn't want to sleep
Right.
with it being my only night with him. So Simon was like, I'm going to sleep though. And then Christina, my photographer, was like, can I stay with you? Can I just sit here with you? Would that feel right to you to just, if you don't have Simon because he's sleeping? And I was like, please, will you stay? I'm so grateful for that, because it just, I can still hear the room. Just, it's just so quiet, especially when Simon fell asleep. No baby crying. It's just so deafeningly quiet. It's just, and just to have someone in my presence to just talk to me and to cry with, and to just like, I was just still like, I kept putting him down because I felt like I wanted to preserve him as much as possible. It was so confusing to know how long do you hold him? When do you put him down? I just wanted to keep like squeezing him, but then it's like, so I had him in the cuddle cot next to me, and I just was leaning over. She has these pictures, because also like we had been done with pictures, but she still snapped a few of like me just like leaning over his cuddle cot. And it's like, again, such a picture of a mother and her newborn baby, yet not how it should be, but so similar, of just, he's right next to me. We're right there. We're doing it. I'm just leaning over, marveling at him, but it's just not how it should be.
Yeah.
But she stayed with me. It's also so hard because they keep coming in and doing checks of you. It's like, I just wished the whole time I'm like, I don't want to be in this environment. Like if this is my only time with him, I wish I didn't have all these nurses and this. I don't want to be in this sterile room. I wish we could be somewhere nicer, like home. But yeah, they keep coming in to check in on you. I also felt like the nurses really kind of would avoid looking at him, That's also painful.
It is.
It's like typically you have a baby and it's like they marvel at how beautiful he is, like as soon as Lincoln came out, oh, he's a cute one, and it's like Milo comes out, he's so beautiful, but none of them say anything, It's like, because he's dead. It's like, okay, well, I still see his beauty. So,
yes.
But you just still want that,
You do.
But yeah, chaplains are coming in, like, are you going to cremate or bury? Do you want just more decisions, more signatures, more Simon sleeping a lot? That's also, I think, something we've learned is like one of his like kind of trauma responses is to sleep. That can
sleep.
Yeah. I think for me in that moment, that was hard.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't. And so a part of me felt alone, even though that's not his fault. And also something beautiful too, that I've heard him say is that he found peace in, again, how I've talked about those little moments of normalcy. He felt that peace of like a moment of normalcy, of that he found enough peace to sleep next to our son, even in all the trauma, all the pain, that he felt enough peace to just sleep next to him. And it looked like Milo was sleeping. So there's a picture of them. Simon's cuddling the other swaddle and Milo's swaddled. And they're both looks like sleeping. They're sleeping. And so also knowing that, I think I'm glad that he had that.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm just so grateful that Christina was there. And chaplains are coming in. And so then my doctor came in at 7 a.m. Christina was still there. Simon was sleeping. And right away, that same kind of rude, cold demeanor, he walks over to Milo's cuddle cot and looks at him, just kind of stares at him. And he was like, yeah, it looks like he died on Saturday. It's like, wow, thanks. So helpful. Like, we know that. But just nothing like, wow, just like, yeah, it looks like he died on Saturday, but just nothing behind it, just cold. And I brought up to him that the placenta, they said, was tiny. The testing hadn't come back yet, but they said the placenta was tiny. I had little to no fluid. I believe that Milo died of what Lincoln almost did. And he was like, nope. He was like, he said, ever since you brought it back up to me, Bethany, I looked at Lincoln's charts and all I see is a baby that was in a little bit of distress. So he needed to come out with an emergency C-section. And then he had a couple days in the NICU trying to get his sugars up. That he did not almost die. First of all, do not tell a mother that experienced her baby almost dying that he did not almost die, because yes, he did. Yes, he did. And actually, Milo now dying points to that even more than it ever did. The miracle of Lincoln that I still don't understand why we didn't get with Milo, but separately, yes, we should have had it with Milo, but it just shows the miracle of Lincoln, that Lincoln's even here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no, Lincoln absolutely almost died. So I don't know where you're getting that, because that is what he's tried to say. Because he probably did that to cover his own butt of just being like, it doesn't appear that Lincoln almost died. It seems like he was in distress and had a couple days of trying to get his sugars up. And I'm like, it was so much more than that. And that basically. So then he's like, it sits in the womb. And so he's like, but the good news is your body did it. So if you ever have another baby, then we can probably trust your body to have a natural labor. I'm like, okay, don't really need to talk about that right now. Thanks.
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay, so since you asked for your placenta to be tested, Milo will be going to the lab with his placenta. And I was like, no, I don't want Milo to go to the lab with his placenta. And he was like, that's hospital policy. The baby goes to the lab with their placenta. And I was like, no, his appearance is already struggling. I don't want him to go to the lab. Christina saw the look on my face and what I was saying. She starts looking it up on her phone and she starts reading out loudly, like, in the state of Colorado, a parent can actually bring their baby home if they want to, like this whole slew of something, like basically legally that he's still mine. Legally, I can bring him home. Legally, I could bring him to the funeral home myself if I want to.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't get to tell me that. So then he goes, he pauses and he's like, well, not without a fight from the hospital.
Whoa. Okay.
And like, what's it to you?
Yeah.
What's it to you? Well, what do you care? So I am so distraught because I'm like mothering him still. I don't care that he's not alive. This is my baby. I grew this body. This is my baby. I'm his mother. I decide what happens to his body. And I didn't want to even think about him just sitting in this like gross lab. And then so the nurse came in after that and I was like, what is it like? And she was like, he basically will go in like a small box and for a couple days he'll sit in the box while they test the placenta. And I'm like, so then what, he just melts in the box? And then what do I have left to cremate? Because like we had decided cremation. I'm like, I don't want that. I want him fully intact as much as possible. I don't want him melting in a box in the lab. And I was like, I had turned down an autopsy because we already know this baby is perfect. Like, let's not mess with him. Like, there's no reason to do that. It's about the placenta. We know it's about the placenta. And I was like, since I turned down the autopsy, though, they wouldn't touch him, right? And she was like, oh, they do. They do. They take the baby out of the box and they kind of mess with the body a little bit. And I was like, no. And so I was talking to him. I was like, he will not do that. I will not allow that. I just was like putting my foot down and they were like, well, there's nothing we can do. Like, this is hospital policy. They were fighting me for so long on something. And then finally this chaplain comes in and she was like, Bethany, I want you to know that it is technically hospital policy, but he does not have to go to the lab with his placenta. We could have the funeral home pick him up here directly.
Okay.
And they could bring a little carrier. And I was like, yes, that feels more dignifying. That feels how I want it to go. Like, I want it to be like that. She's like, okay, I will get that moving. And I'm like, why did you guys put me through this?
Yes.
And like, And like the nurse is also saying, you know, like, oh, we've never had a baby this big, born, stillborn. And, you know, like it doesn't happen very often. It's like, that's also not helpful. I already know 0.01% chance.
Yeah.
Like, just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
She also said one of those comments that's so painful of like, God needed him as an angel. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He should be here with me. Not helpful.
Yep.
Just
not helpful.
Just if you can't say anything, then just don't say anything. If you can't say anything worth anything, then just shut your mouth. Because no, this shouldn't have happened, especially in Milo's case. This was medical negligence. God didn't just need him as an angel. My doctor failed me and Milo. He failed us miserably. And it just was such a weird. Christina ended up leaving. Well, we actually had my parents and Lincoln come, which I still just kept being like, do I have Lincoln meet him? Do I have him?
Yeah.
But the next day after Simon had slept, he, you know, the places that had the skin had come off now were black. His lips were black.
Mm-hmm.
His coloring was darker.
Yeah.
And Lincoln was 2.5. And I'm like, again, this is such an impossible decision because I hope I'm not messing up. I hope this isn't something that he's like, Mom, like I really wanted to meet my brother. Like I just did my best.
Yes.
With and knowing how sensitive he is, I was worried that he would take on more in his little body and his brain that he would be able to communicate and ask questions about. And I didn't want him to have nightmares. I didn't want him to feel afraid. I just didn't know. I didn't, maybe it would have been fine, but maybe it would have been too much for him. I don't know. And so it just felt impossible to make the decision. And so I think because we struggled to make the decision, we were like, well, let's just not do it then, because maybe that's better than doing it and regretting doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's something I still really question because I also wish that we could have gotten a picture.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You don't get that back. I wish we could have gotten a picture with all of us.
Yeah.
I wish I could have even just for a moment had my brain and heart see Lincoln look at him and marvel at him. And I mean, even he does it now. We do show him the touched up photos, you know?
Yeah.
But he's just like his little nose and his head. He marvels at him. And I on his own, I was like, one time I was like, Lincoln, who do you think he kind of looks like? And he was like, Lincoln.
Oh.
Like he totally sees it. But my parents came and Simon went outside to go play with Lincoln and they came in the room. I did ask them not to hold him just because his appearance was struggling so much. I wanted like the last bit of holding to be for me.
Yeah.
So Christina snapped a couple of photos of them meeting him and then I saw Lincoln, which Lincoln had already been separated from me for like, you know, a little over a day, 2 days, whatever. And he is a mama's boy. And so he just was like, as soon as he saw me, Christina did get a really precious photo that I'm grateful that I have just because I'm standing in the doorway of Milo's room where Milo's laying. But then the doorway also is to the hallway. But he's facing the other way, so he can't see Milo. Yeah. But he's got his little visitor tag on. And I'm holding him and I'm kissing his cheek. And it's like it says so much in one photo.
Yeah.
You know, like he was right there. He was right there. He was there. He just didn't meet him. Yeah. But he was right there in that doorway. He had his little visitor tag on that he's his big brother, you know?
Yeah.
It's just such a sweet photo that I didn't even ask her to take. She just was doing stuff like that. So I'm grateful for that photo because I'm like, I can at least show him, see, you were there, buddy. Here you are with your little visitor tag because you're his big brother. You were right there. And I have shown him that. But and then we went out to the hallway and he was like, Mama, come with me. Mama, I miss you. Mama, he's just like pulling on me. I was like, buddy, I have to stay here for a little longer. You're going to go back with Nana and Papa. He was like, no, he's like crying. Like, this is already pulling at my heart so much. I'm like, oh, please don't do this. This is all I have with Milo, but like, also, how do you not, like, how does it not break your heart when your baby wants you like that? And I also want him. And I was like, I'm going to walk you to the elevator, which wasn't a great idea just because I had just pushed out a baby and it was on the other side of the hospital, but walked him to the elevator and got him to get on with them. But that was really painful. And then came back to the room. Christina was like, okay, I think I'm going to go now. So then it was just me and Simon, and they were also at that point, nobody had mentioned medication for me for sleeping, for depression, nothing. And so I even like had to ask the nurse to be like, I think I should start being on something like I just pushed out a dead baby. Like, could we maybe think about something? Yeah. So then she ended up having my doctor come back in, which like, great. If there was any moment that he showed any second of kindness, it was that second time that he came back in. But he was like, I'm going to put you on Zoloft right away, and I'm going to prescribe Ambien for sleeping, since you're not sleeping right now. And then I was like, I remember I was like holding him and stuff, and he was like, you can stay another night if you want to. You can stay with him. And I was like, I'm really concerned about my milk coming in, and no lactation consultants have come in. And I really want a lactation consultant. I had to ask this like 3 or 4 times. Like, what's so annoying is after I had Lincoln, he's in the NICU. He's not even barely getting my milk. And the lactation consultants, I could not get rid of them. There was just like a million of them. And they were just like, oh, let's talk about your milk all the time. And I'm like, go away. And in this case, I'm still a mom.
I still
just
lactate.
had a baby. My milk's coming in. Nobody's coming in to talk to me. And I'm like, please, can a lactation consultant come in? The one that comes in brings a pamphlet in. She looks at Milo and then visibly gets like basically afraid of the room. She starts shaking, reading the pamphlet. I'm not even joking. Just shaking. And she's like, I recommend that you start pumping and donating to babies in need. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, I can understand. I know that maybe some moms do that. And if they do it, wow.
And that's their decision.
That was not me. It was not going to be me. I mean, I love breastfeeding, but my baby. And I felt like it was just going to be a painful reminder. Like I wanted it gone as quickly as possible. Because it was a journey that I wasn't going to ever get to experience with him. And so it's like, could we at least have it dry up as fast as possible? She still just basically wasn't giving me any tips to dry it up. And I was like, you can just go. And something for you to know about me before Milo died is I am not typically this outspoken. I am typically like just more of a people person, more of a people pleaser, more of like I want to, but after Milo died was like the first time that I just like, I changed. I was like, he will not go to the lab. You can leave this room now. And it's just something that's come out of me that wasn't there before. And my therapist is always like, I know that there's so much grief of who you were that's no longer here. And some of it is sad. I am not the same person that I was. And some of it is sad. But she always tries to say it's not all bad. Yeah. That part isn't bad. The fact that you stand up for your baby and things and yourself and your heart, that's not bad. Yeah. That's not a bad quality that's come about, even though there have been not great ones. That's not a bad one. But I just was like, you can leave. It was so unhelpful. It was just like another reminder of like everyone, my room barely had any postpartum products. Huh? Like typically the rooms are just stocked. No, not my room. So Simon starts being like, I think we should say goodbye tonight. And I was like, no, I'm not going to say goodbye. He was like, he is really melting in front of us. It's harder to hold him because his head was getting more soft. It's just different, and it was, I felt it. I saw it. That perfect beauty that I feel like I got to see when he first came out. It's like it was still there. It's just he was suffering more, his appearance. And so Simon was like, I don't think this was good. Jess was on the phone. Jess also did FaceTime right after I had him. So she's like, other than my parents, the only other person that like in real time kind of saw him. She was on FaceTime. She also, her and her husband kind of marveled, like, look how cute he is. Like they were also crying, but it was like that same moment of just kind of like, there was still beauty in that it was Milo. But she got on the phone because she was the one that was like, can you ask about medications? Is anyone talking to you about your mental health? Is anyone going to help you with anything? Like she's the one advocating for me. And she was like, I think you need to say goodbye soon. I do think you do, because because it had already, you know, I'd had him at 10:52. It was like, you know, coming up to like the 20-hour mark, maybe.
Yeah.
So she just was like, you could spend more time, but my worry is that it's just going to get more traumatizing for you, and that this is the right time to say goodbye. And so I just was trying to lean on, if anyone thinks anything like Jess and Simon, then I'm going to because I can't make the decision. I didn't feel strong enough. I felt like I was never going to feel strong enough. And so like, okay, I'll just go with them then. If this is what they feel, then we'll go with that. But I don't like it, and I don't want to do this. So we told the nurses, and they were like, okay, the funeral home is probably going to be here at like 7. So we held him longer. We prayed over him. We cried over him. Just cried. Just such a deep, I've never cried like that before in my life until Milo died. Like this, like, kind of cry that still comes out of me. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, you know, crying before your baby dies. And then it's like, you know, this like deep body.
Yeah.
This like crying out pain. That's what was coming out. And then I felt like I just kept watching the clock, knowing like, okay, they're going to be here around 7. It's like it was messing with me of like trying to enjoy this. I feel like I can't hold him. I want to hold him. They're about to be here. They didn't end up coming. They were late. They were like not there till like 7:30, which was also kind of annoying, because then it's like, you wish you would have just known that you had more time then, instead of being like they're about to walk in. You know, it's like this. We didn't want to be like deep crying and praying and stuff at the moment that they came. We could have been, but like it just, we were kind of trying to be aware of the time, but then they were so late. I'll just never forget. The chaplain had told me that they would bring a carrier. And I guess in my mind, and it's kind of silly now when I think about it, because I'm like, I had pictured like a baby carrier.
Yeah. Oh,
which again, I don't know.
Yes. This is not anything that you were thinking that you should be prepared for.
No, but they came in with a miniature baby body bag, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I just wasn't prepared for that. But also, okay, so it was a body bag, but it also kind of looked like it could be like a grandma's bag.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like it just almost had like floral on it or something, and it zipped like it was a good size, but like I don't know if that makes sense, but there was almost like brown leather on it or something.
Almost
it was
like a bassinet type situation,
but like a old looking kind of vintage grandma's bag, sort of, that like zips, but like the size of a baby body bag, but like has this weird brown leather on it and like this random little floral on it.
Yeah.
Just okay. So two people come in wearing black. Like you just don't, you know, this isn't anything you ever picture. So it's like, but they came in wearing black. They just like had to cross their arms, like both of them. It's like, it's almost like they're just told to stand, like
probably
military. I just don't like that. It just was like immediately they brought this presence into the room that I'm like, please leave. Like they brought the funeral home presence into the room.
Yeah.
And that I just felt the room change, and I was like, oh, no, no, don't want this. But they were like, okay, we've got this tag that we want to clip on his wrist or his ankle. Again, I'm standing up. I'm like, we had just re-swaddled him. So we wanted to keep that swaddle he was swaddled in. But because he had been in that swaddle for like 21 hours, it basically took his skin off with it as we opened it up. So it's just covered in his blood. And it just took off so much of his skin. It was so traumatic to just move him to a different swaddle. And I still wanted to go with it because I'm like, I still want the swaddle that held his body, whether it's bloody, whether it has his skin, I want it. And we've been cuddling that other one. It just felt like what I wanted to do, but it was also just so painful. So we had just re-swaddled him, and I'm just holding him. And she was like, we need to put this tag on his wrist or his ankle. And I was like, I don't really want him being touched. We just re-swaddled him. He's in this swaddle. And she was like, it's okay. We can do it when we get back to the funeral home. And I was like, I don't want you touching him. Like, is there any way that he could just go back there and then go into the refrigerator and just not be messed with? And she was like, well, typically we put the tag on and then we get prints when we get over there. And I'm like, well, I got good prints. I don't feel like I need more prints of his hands and feet. I would honestly just rather you not touch him. And I think they were just kind of like, I don't know. It's like their job. And there's like, probably their mind is like, he's dead, but it's like, I'm his mom. Yeah. That's my baby. And I don't care that he's died. It's so unnatural that I'm even passing him off. Yeah. It is so unnatural that he's in my arms and he's about to not be for the rest of my life. And I don't want you touching him. I don't want anyone. This is my baby that I grew. Don't touch him. Don't touch him. He's not a science project. He's not just another dead person. Don't touch him. And she was like, well, we can clip if you want him to get cremated in this blanket then. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, then we can clip it onto the blanket then, and we won't touch him. We will not touch him. But, she's not talking with any kindness. She's like very like, we won't touch him then, we'll put it on that. And then she was like, would you like me to put him in the body bag or would you like to? And again, it's like another really tough decision, but all I knew is that I'm his mom. If anyone is touching him on this earth, on this side of heaven, it's going to be me. That's my baby. I will put him in the body bag no matter how traumatic, no matter how painful. If I never sleep again, I will put him in the body bag because I need to. I'm his mom, and I'm not going to watch somebody else hold his perfect body and place him in there. I wasn't going to let Simon even do it. It was going to be me. And I don't even know how. I don't even know how I did it. I don't even know how I placed him in there. I don't even know how I ever let go. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know how I ever let go. And as soon as I did, they zipped it up so fast. It's like, it's like it almost like it just like ours. Like it's like it just felt like so quick. Like I put him in there. Done. He's our property. It's just what it felt like. And she was just holding him like this in the body bag. And Simon was like, can we walk out with you guys? And she was like, yeah. And so my nurse, who I never was offered a wheelchair. If you have an alive baby, they like basically make you have a wheelchair. Again, it's on the other side of the hospital to get to the elevator and to the front doors. No,
They didn't offer you that.
No, I can walk because my baby died. Is how it felt. There was just so much of that. And thankfully, not every mother has this experience. Not every hospital, not every like staff member is this way. I had a horrendous experience with that of just like, I wasn't treated like a mother that just had a baby, even though I absolutely was. And I tore and I had stitches, but it didn't matter. Like, you can walk. And we're on that floor with all the other mothers and that are in labor or had just had their precious, beautiful, alive, crying babies. And here we go, marching to the elevator with these people wearing black, holding my baby in a body bag. I could feel the eyes from the strangers. I could feel it. I could feel the moms that are in labor, like, that's my worst nightmare. I could see the people holding their babies like, oh, and it's like, yeah, it's your worst nightmare, but really is mine. And I'm living it. I'm living it. You just get to watch it for 1 second. I have to live this. I have to keep living this. I just like, we hung our heads, both of us. We just hung our heads and we followed them to the elevator. And we got on the elevator with them. It just felt like we were on the elevator for an eternity. I almost wished I could be holding the bag. Like, she's holding the bag with my baby. I'm just like, oh, I hate every moment of this. I remember the thoughts in my brain that I was like, this is hell. You know, you talk about heaven and hell. I've heard it. I've heard what hell, this is my hell. This is literally my hell. I'm living it. I'm in hell. Somehow I was living a normal, beautiful life. And then now I'm just here, which is hell. And I'm not going to get out of it. And we rode the elevator and they had this black van. Everything just has to be black, apparently. And they were going to put him in the back of the car. And I was like, I don't really want him rolling around in the bag. It was like snowing again. Because snow is one of our reminders of him. Because every single thing that happened with Milo, it was snowing. It was snowing. And she was like, while she drives, I will hold him in my lap then in the bag. And I was like, okay. Again, just mothering him every last second that I could. And then Simon's like, I'm going to go get the car. So we watch Milo get driven off in a black van in the snow. And then I wait for Simon to come pick me up. And just the feeling of getting in that car, how cold it was, the snow. It was so silent. It was so painful. It was like we got home at like 8:00. We haven't eaten. Simon's like, I'm going to eat. Do you want to eat? I'm like, no. And I just like waddled upstairs. It's like the postpartum waddle with no baby. It's just like a box of a bloody blanket and a hat that he wore for 2 seconds and some prints and the postpartum waddle and no baby. And I just slowly walked up the stairs and got in bed. And I just remember wanting to die. I just was like, I don't want this. I don't want to live this. I hate this. This is awful. This is so painful. I've never known darkness and pain like this in my whole life. And I didn't eat and I barely slept. I had to sleep on like one of those like pads because I was bleeding so much, you know. No baby. And the funeral home was telling us we needed to come back the next day to do like all the planning for whatever we were choosing. So we left. We had like breakfast and coffee really quick and got in the car, snowing again, went to the funeral home. And I remember filling out his death certificate and it just being so brutal because first of all, Simon's name and signature isn't on it and wasn't going to go on it. It's like you have your child die in this way and it was only me. What? It's only my name and signature related to Milo. Like, you know, it's like a public record, you know, like death certificates, like this could be looked up forever. Simon is not on it. They said that that's just how it is. There's no signature from Simon. Like, it's just me and Milo on there. And it's asking me all these questions like, did you smoke and do drugs during your pregnancy? Did you drink alcohol? Like, you know, like just kind of pointing fingers, like basically like, what did you do to make your baby die? Yeah. It's just like, and it's like, of course, it doesn't even, I know it was medical negligence, but because of the nature of mine too, of like my placenta giving out in the end, like why can't I make a normal healthy placenta that's big enough? I don't know. Why has it happened twice? Why was it even worse the second time? Why can I create this perfectly beautiful baby, but not a good enough placenta? It doesn't make sense. And it's happened twice. And then obviously the second time, even way worse. And it's like, what? There's already blame there. There's already, I struggle so much. And it's like, people can say it all day long till they're blue in the face. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You can't do that, you know? Well, I do, because like,
you just do.
I was his home. I was his nutrients. My body was feeding him. My body was growing him. He died inside of me. It's so painful to think about. My body didn't create a good enough placenta that then failed him. And even though the doctor should have been on it and Milo should be here today, yes. Why did my body even do that at all? Like, why? It starved him to death. In the beginning, I struggled to eat because I was like, I shouldn't eat because Milo didn't eat and my body didn't feed Milo. So like, I should basically die of the sickness. It was really hard to eat for a long time. And that paperwork was just so painful. And then she gave us a magazine to look at urns. And they're all these like big and just like kind of gross looking urns. And I was like, are there any baby ones? She's like, yeah, let me get to that page. And there's one page of baby urns, you know, one page. Why? Because it's not supposed to happen. Because you're not supposed to have to cremate or bury your child. They're not supposed to die at the beginning of their life. They're supposed to die at the end of their life. So there's the 0.01 right there. That just, there's one page of little tiny baby urns, and I hated all of them. And I was like, I'm just going to get one customized on Etsy or something. It just was more me, and everything I've done with Milo, even post his death, I'm like, I'm going to do it me, the mom that he has, the mom that he was given. Yep. I'm going to do it like me. I'm not just going to get some ugly one that I hate. I'm going to get one that's beautiful because I love home decor. I love making things beautiful. And that it wasn't going to stop with Milo. Yeah. So I was like, I don't want these. And then she's like, okay, we do something called a witness cremation. Would you guys like to do that? Again, never heard of that. Don't know, like, what does that mean? She's like, basically you'll see his body again, or you could choose not to see his body. And basically you watch him go into the machine. And we were like, do a lot of parents do this? She was like, yeah, a lot of parents that have babies or children die at such a young age, just because they didn't get much time with them, they typically do choose that. That doesn't mean you have to. And so we were like, okay, we'll do the witness cremation then. But Simon was like, I don't want to see him again. I don't want to hold him again. I think that will be really traumatic. I just think we want to be there. Like, instead of just knowing it's happening at home, like we'll just know it's happening there. Yeah. Okay. At least. So, I don't know. It was like 2 hours with them. And I just remember I just had a baby. I'm like, have a huge pad on and like the, you know, an ice pack. They had these like hard, uncomfortable chairs. I couldn't sit down. You can't sit down like that. So I'm just standing the whole time. I could hear Jess in my head, like, you just had a baby. Make sure you're resting and sitting. And I'm like, I can't. They don't think about that. So it was like these super uncomfortable chairs. So I just was on my feet for like 2 hours. Oh. And then, so that was on a Thursday. So I had him on a Tuesday, said goodbye on the Wednesday night, did the funeral home on Thursday. Christina came back on Thursday and just sat with us. And then my mom was kind of calling. She was like, Lincoln really misses you. And that was such a confusing thing too. Cause it's like, of course I want to pick him up. Of course I want him to come home. But I've just had a baby. and he's died, and I've just put him in a body bag. And I just like, how do I mom right now?
Yeah.
I want to mom, and I want to mom Milo too. I just want this all to look so different.
Yeah.
But in this reality, how do I mom Lincoln right now?
Yes.
And he's such a mama's boy. He doesn't want dad to feed him or change his diaper or do anything. I'm like, I also just had a baby. I need him to be, but without the reminder of the baby, that was hard for Lincoln. And I was worried about that too, of like, at least if Milo was being brought home, it's like, mama needs to feed Milo, whatever. But there's no baby. So Lincoln's like,
of course,
you do it all, Mom. Yeah. So we went and picked up Lincoln. I brought like my little postpartum products in case I had to go to the bathroom, and picked him up. And one thing about Lincoln too is like, we did tell him the night that we found out Milo died that Milo was in heaven and he was no longer with us and that he had died. And then before I had him, all Lincoln kept saying on his own was, Milo's happy now, Mama. Oh. Milo's happy now. And he was 2.5. And never have I said anything like that to him. Like it was just being downloaded to him. It was crazy. He was like, Mama's happy now. Milo's happy now, Mama. And it would he just knew that.
Those little kids, it's
crazy.
So
he was 2.5.
Yeah.
My cousin, who also is kind of like another big sister in my life, she's like 6 years older than me. I've looked up to her my whole life. She had told me before I even had Milo, like, I will be there in a heartbeat. If you need me, I will like come stay with you for a week. I will help you with whatever you need. And originally I'm like, this is going to be dark, like, I don't know if I want, of course I wanted her and support, but I also was like, this is going to be painful. Yes. Like, do I want anyone else coming into this? But then me and Simon were talking about it. We were like, we need her. Like, we need her here. Like, it just felt like impossible to wash a dish and to even if Lincoln wasn't going to let her do much for him, just another body there for him, someone else there for me, someone else there for Simon. So I texted her, I think on that Thursday after the funeral home, I was like, I need you. And she was like, booking a flight right now. She came in Saturday morning. She was there. And that was like Thursday evening that I texted her. I just feel like I was sent these certain people like Jess, Christina, Sarah. And it's like, they were given just this heart for me and Milo. It's like, they were like, I hate this for you, but I love you so much and I will sit with you as much as I can. Yeah. And I can't lighten it and I can't take it away, but I'll at least be here. And not everyone has had that response, A lot of people it's too painful for. And it's like, those are really tough people for me because it's like, it's too painful for me too. But I don't get a choice.
Yep, I'm in it.
Yeah, this is my reality. So you can look at it for a couple seconds, a couple hours every once in a while and sit with me in the darkness, but a lot of people can't. And having these certain people has been really important. Again, Jess would just be on the, have you eaten? What have you eaten today? When is the last time you showered? And I needed that so bad because I'm just like, I don't know how to. It's like the only thing that semi came naturally to me still was mothering Lincoln. And beyond that, nothing. Eating, functioning, doing anything was just no. And so Sarah came for an entire week. She just washed every dish. She like made us dinner. She would vacuum. I'm like a clean freak. So that was also just so like such a gift to me that she was just like helping me. She would sit there and cry with me. She helped me customize an urn on Etsy with somebody. I was like, this is too painful to go back and forth with this lady. I wanted his hand and footprint on the urn, but it just was all so painful to just even do. And so I was like, Sarah, will you do this? And she just did it for me. And just so many hours just crying. I like passed a bit of my placenta at home, which was really scary and kind of shocking. And so I had her there, like took a picture. I was like, this is what it looked like. Also sent it to Jess, was like, send it to me. She's like, nothing's too much for her with me. She's like, send it. We were almost like, do I need to go in? Cause like it just, I ended up being fine, but just having her there was such a gift, even though just such a fragile, painful time. But it all is, and in ways, in ways, it's more painful now because it's like the more time goes on, having like that, it's been even longer since I held his body.
Yes.
That's really painful.
It is.
And these anniversary, Christmas was so hard.
Yeah.
His birthday, his death anniversary. It's like it just doesn't end. And sometimes it just feels like it gets heavier because the longer we go, the more milestones he's missing, the more milestones I'm missing watching him, that I can still live and see in my head and heart like it's real, but it's not real. No one else can see it like I can. I'm the only one. Lincoln actually the other day like had this little moment with me of like almost pretending what it would be like if Milo were here. It was so cute because he's just so naturally like me, like his personality. And so he was like, if he said it on his own, he's like, if Milo were here, we'd be going and getting him in his crib right now. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and then I'd want to hold him. And I was like, yeah, you would. It was really I'm sure like a lot of that, even more about Lincoln, I'll probably share. And like, I know that there's like that second episode of like Beyond, but in the memorial, and I know there's other stuff we'll talk about, but we did the witness cremation and we asked my parents to take Lincoln. Lincoln did not want to be dropped off. It was in the morning. We went there. It was the same lady. I think that they think that it's comforting that it's like the same person that picks up your baby, meets with you the day after, also meets with you the day that they're getting cremated. Also, just because they're so cold and stuff, it's like, I don't know that it matters, you know, like I don't know that this person is like just so comforting to me. It's just not that at all. But we pull up there and we had said that Simon had said he didn't want to see him again. I don't think I could say those words. And that doesn't mean that Simon, you know, men are just built different.
Yeah. And
he loves his son so fiercely. It's just, I think also he wanted to protect as well. And was like, I think that this might not be the best idea. But we met with her and she was like, so I have Milo in a bassinet in the basement so that you can see him again. I did have to put a beanie on him because his head is collapsed in a little bit. So this had been 2 weeks that he was in the fridge, which, by the way, in those 2 weeks, I'm sure other moms feel this way, but I just felt haunted by the picture of, because I asked her that day after we met with her, I was like, is there any other babies or kids in there? She was like, so that picture is really hard for me because it's like
he's just there by himself.
Like there was other people, but they were older people. Yeah. He's the only little tiny guy in there. The only little person. The only one in a swaddle, you know, like the only one that really shouldn't be in there. So that was something that still haunts me, of like those 2 weeks of just him sitting there. And I know it's so silly, I'm sure but I kept thinking, like, what if I get a call, like he's breathing, you know, like I always thought, and until the moment he was cremated, I literally kept thinking, what if he just, I know that doesn't make any sense and that it wasn't going to happen, but it's just, I don't know if it's just this normal lost mom thing of just like,
it's a normal
I have no idea.
I was like, you're always just
what hoping. If I just get this call? Yeah. Of like that he's just somehow he's alive.
Yeah.
Never got the call. So, and then she was like, we had to put a beanie on him because his head is collapsed in a little bit. And so she was like, Simon was like, we didn't want to see him though. And she was like, well, he's in the bassinet right next to, she was like, you don't have to hold him, you know? And so she was like, let me give you guys a minute. And Simon's like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And I was like, I can't say no to seeing him again, even if it's going to be traumatic. I cannot say no to it. And he was like, I will go with you on this one because you are Milo's mama. I don't want to. I don't think it's a good idea, but if you want to do this, we'll do this because you want to do it and you're his mom and that's all that matters. And I was like, I want to see him again. And this could be a huge mistake, but I want to. And so we walked to the basement. It smelled like incense, like, you know, just that nasty incense that gives you a headache. And just like, it was such a long walk. He was at the very end in this like really gross, really old bassinet. Like it's just been around for a long time. It's like yellowing, you know, that kind of bassinet. I'm like, thanks. And he had just somehow like shrunk. Like he just looked smaller.
Yeah.
He just looked littler. He's still so cute somehow, but he just smaller. He was just laying there next to the machine. And again, same question. Do you want to put him in the box or do you want me to? And I said, I will. And I picked him up out of the bassinet. I said, I love you, buddy. I love you. And I placed him in this tiny cardboard box that you could just ship a package in. And again, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I picked him up and how I put him down, but I did it. I put him in the box. And again, they shut it up so fast, they taped it. And then we watched it go on the machine and they were like, all right, this will take a couple hours. You can go home. It's just done. I will never see his face again. I will never touch his body again. That's it. We just get in the car. We go pick up Lincoln right away. We bring him home. And other than like the memorial and having to just survive, continuing to live, everything Milo was over. The physical Milo stuff.
Yeah.
And that was really, really, really tough. I mean, tough isn't even, you can't even, there's no words for this kind of stuff. You can't even like put words to it. It's not tough. It's beyond devastating. It's earth shattering. It's like, it makes sense that I didn't want to live through it. It makes sense that I like, also it's part of mothering a baby that's died and is in heaven. You're pulled there. So there is part of you that almost feels a bit morbid or, you know, you're like connected to death and heaven way more than you ever were.
Yeah.
And I'm way less afraid of dying because I get to see Milo, but I also don't want to leave Lincoln. But I was always more afraid of dying. I feel like that's just like Christina, her grandma lost a baby in the same way. Like I think he was like a full-term stillborn. And she died in like her 80s. Like she lived a long, full life. And in the hospital, in her last moments, she reached her arms up and said his name and said, I can see him. And she was just crying, had the biggest smile on her face. And she was like, I don't remember his name, but she was like, I can see him. And her arms were open. She just had lived her whole life. Like, I'm ready now. My baby, come here. And Christina said that to me of like, obviously this is hard to hear because you're going to spend your whole life aching and in pain for this baby. But there's beauty in that her last moments were like, my baby.
Yeah. Bethany, I'm so sorry. Did you guys end up having a memorial service or a funeral service?
We did in April. It's like on April 5th.
Okay.
We had it at our house. It was so small. It was so small. I could have had it be way bigger. I think for me, I chose the people that really showed up right away. My best friend, Jess kind of led it. My parents, my best friend and her husband, another couple, like there was just like a few people there because I don't know, I could have opened it up to more. It just felt like I wanted it to be the closest, safest people, even if there were other close, safe people.
Yeah.
I made the decision in that moment, and I decorated for him because as I do, that's just the type of person I am. So, I got him balloons and we did like a balloon arch with all my colors for him. And I had like almost like a birthday looking cake. So it's like this big, like 3-tiered, like sprinkle cake.
Yeah.
With like colorful pom-poms and all of my colors for him. And then like a little sign that said Milo. And it's just like a covered in sprinkle cake. Because I was also wanting to celebrate his life. Like, yes, it's like devastatingly painful, but he lived and he's my son and he's real and he deserves to still be celebrated. And I was going to find any ounce of something that I had. You know, I hate when people say you're strong or I hate it. I hate it so much. And everyone says it with this. And it's like, I don't feel strong. And if you were to see me every day this last year, no, I'm not strong. I just am mothering a baby that's died.
Yeah.
And I love him so much. And I think my love carries me to do these things. It's not strength. It's not, because strength almost makes it sound like almost like you're above the pain a little bit, you know, like almost like it, like, no, the pain knocks me down. I'm still on my face in his room all the time. But my love for him and my love for Lincoln keeps me continuing to mother Lincoln and continuing to somehow be Milo's mom. And that's all it is. It's not strength. But I wrote something I wanted to say. Simon wrote something he wanted to say. I also asked my dad to say something. I asked Jess to lead it and say something. My best friend Erica wrote a really beautiful poem. Almost everyone said something, which was really beautiful. We had our neighbor is a worship pastor. Simon is actually a singer-songwriter. And so he did at the beginning of the memorial sing a couple songs, but we just knew as it carried on, it would be too painful for him. Yeah. So we had Micah sing some worship songs, some other songs that just felt related to Milo. We had them all pray for us and we all said something. We had cake. We had Lincoln go next door with our neighbors. They have sons. So he was over there during the memorial, but then we had him come back for the cake part. Yeah. So he blew out the candle with us and good. He didn't fully understand. So he was like, I have a video of him being like, happy birthday, Milo. So sweet. Didn't understand, but it's so cute. Yeah. And he just was like, this is Milo's party. And,
it is.
Yeah, it is. And so it was beautiful. I had like these beautiful, like cool candles everywhere. And I had teddy bears everywhere. I had this teddy bear blanket because I had gotten this for his room way before he died. And I had the bird, his like light up bird light. And yeah, just everything kind of Milo on that main level. And we just celebrated him the best we could. We were actually supposed to release lanterns for him. That was my idea. I love Disney and Tangled. I just loved the idea of releasing lanterns, but we're in Colorado and the event has been canceled like 3 times and I'm pretty sure it's never happening. But the reason we did it April 5th was originally the lanterns were happening that night. Oh. So we were all going to do the memorial service and then go release lanterns for him. And then it was rescheduled and then it was rescheduled. And then, I just don't think it's ever happening. Yeah. But that was hard because I did want to do that for him, just something like that. But Christina took pictures of the memorial. Christina was there. She has like become one of my closest, dearest friends. Just being in that room and taking the photos, it's like, feels like she knows Milo more than anyone else in my life, you know, like she'll speak to just how beautiful he was and just how she could feel his spirit. And just, I think I will always cling to her in a way. Also, Jess, even just being on FaceTime, but how Jess just walked me through moment by moment in those early days. It's like, I will never let go of them. Ever. They're just such incredible, important Milo people. Like, and they love Milo. It's like other people feel bad for us. They feel sad for us. They love me so much that it makes them hurt. But it feels like there's a couple people that not only hurt for me, they hurt because they love Milo too. And they want to know Milo. And that's just so rare. You know, it's just like, oh, I'm so sorry, you know. But it's like, no, there's a couple people that actually grieve him, and not to the same degree as me and Simon. And especially being the mom, there's just ways I think that you grieve, especially just growing him and actually physically having him and being postpartum, making his milk. I did pump some milk to make some breast milk jewelry. So I sent it off to a company. I had a ring made with my breast milk for him and some of his cremation ashes and then some of his dried flowers from his memorial. Just like there's just a couple people that it's like, you love Milo, and it just makes me cling to them so much. But
I like how you've talked about the people that really that they missed him. Not just mourning
that they
because
felt
of
pain.
you.
Yes, they love me, but it's more than that. They feel pain that he's not here. Like Jess wants to be his auntie. Christina wants to be his auntie. Like Christina came over on his birthday and was like, I wish we were celebrating him and he's here, you know, like there's just, you know, and my best friend Erica, I'm like my parents, Simon's parents, like there are some people that it's like, they desperately wish they could know him and see him. And that means a lot to me to just feel like he's loved beyond just me and Simon and Lincoln, because he deserves that. He's so deserving. He deserves that. He deserves to be so fiercely loved. I will never deny him. You know, when I meet people and they're like, are you going to have more kids and whatever? I know that every lost mom is like, do I answer or do I not answer? Honestly, my two things are I never deny him. So either I tell you and I tell you that he died, or I just tell you that I have a 1-year-old. And I don't need to explain further than that because both are true. I have a baby, but you know, it's like when my dad dies someday, if someone meets me, if someone sees me that knows my dad and is like, how's your dad doing? I'm not going to say, I don't have a dad. Because he's dead. I don't have a dad. No, I'm going to say my dad. I'm going to talk about him. So why wouldn't you even more so with your own child? And whatever that looks like, it's like there are some people that I can just tell you're not safe. So I'm just going to say I have another 1-year-old. Like I had an Uber ride with this lady. And she was like, so you have babies? I was like, yep, I've got a 3.5-year-old and a 1-year-old, 2 little boys. And she was like, oh, a baby. Oh, I bet he's so cute. Oh, like, you know, she's like going on. But I just was like, I just didn't feel led to tell her that he died. And I also wasn't going to say that because he's mine. And that I will not deny him because it's like, he's real. He is real still. And he existed and he does still exist. It just not in this physical way that I want him to. And so it's like what I'm going to talk about him. And then it's like, I'm basically saying that Milo doesn't have a mom, like that no, Milo has a mom. And I will tell everybody about him, whether it's the full story or just a glimpse of even just getting to live for a second. I've got a little 1-year-old.
Yeah. Bethany, this has been really just a wonderful conversation that we've had together. And I just want to say thank you, first of all. But before we close up, I was wondering if there was any last things that you wanted to say to Milo or to share about him before we sign off today.
Yeah, I've thought about it and I've wrote some things down to him. So I would love to read that if that's okay.
That's perfect. Yes, please.
Okay. Milo, I love you. I'm so proud of you. I miss you every second, and this life can't possibly be as beautiful as it would be with you here. But I promise to fight for beauty to follow your death. I promise to keep looking out for you, finding you, and honoring you in everything I do. I will never stop longing for more of you. Your eyes, your laugh, your kisses, your stink, your adventure, the way you see the world, you. I am robbed of living this life with your embrace. As your dada says, you are the boy to always pick flowers for your mama. I know you would find beauty in all the small things, so I will do that for you now. There's never a moment that you aren't here, and there's never a moment that I don't picture exactly how it should be. My little Momo, it's an honor to be your mama. It was an honor to carry you, and an honor to be your home. I will keep finding ways to be your mom in a tangible way. You didn't get to live, but I will live for you. I pray that people can get to know you through not only my love for you, but because you are in me and with me forever. I cannot wait for the most beautiful and epic reunion someday and to hear your sweetest voice yell mama as you run towards me.
That was perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bethany, for sharing that. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing his entire story and your heart and just everything that you've given to us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity and for your heart and for hearing Milo. I so appreciate you guys and everything you do.
Oh, you're welcome.